Welcome back to On the Pitch with TJ Picks. I'm your host, T1 Raff. Hello, guys. It's another exciting week of soccer ahead. The European top leagues are back after the international break. Let's get right into it, into the Bundesliga for Saturday. RB Leipzig at Union Berlin. RB Leipzig is a big favorite at minus 222. Union Berlin is actually sitting at fifth spot, fifth place. RB Leipzig is at the third spot. RB Leipzig has 4 goals scored, only 2 against in 2 games. Union Berlin in 2 games has scored 2, only conceded 1 goal. I see a lower scoring game here, even though RB Leipzig has the firepower. Give me RB Leipzig to win in a low scoring game here. Moving on, Hoffenheim at Bayer Leverkusen. Leverkusen's a minus 196 favorite at home. Bayer Leverkusen in 2 games is 5 goals scored, 5 goals conceded. Sitting at the 8th place in this tables. Hoffenheim all the way down to number 11. 4 goals scored, 5 goals conceded. This is one of the overs that I'm going to like this weekend. Hoffenheim and Bayer Leverkusen over. Give me Bayer Leverkusen to win. Moving on to the next game, Freiburg visiting FL Bochum. Freiburg sitting at a minus 154 favorite. Freiburg sitting at the 10th spot. 3 goals scored, 3 goals conceded in 2 games. Bochum all the way to the 17th spot. 0 goals scored, only 3 conceded though in two games. Give me Freiburg money line on this one. Freiburg money line. Wolfsburg in the next game taking on Eintracht Frankfurt. This one's pretty even. Money line for Wolfsburg plus 162. Money line for Eintracht Frankfurt plus 152. Wolfsburg is in the 7th spot in the standings. In 2 games, they've scored 4 goals, conceded 3. Eintracht Frankfurt in 2 games have scored 3 goals, have conceded 3 in the 9th spot. And this is why we have that line. I like the both to score here. This is a tossed up. Give me Wolfsburg at home to take the victory here. I do like the both to score. So this is a possible over, but for right now, we're sticking with the both to score. Moving on to Borussia Mönchengladbach versus Stuttgart. Stuttgart plus 121. Gladbach plus 171. The draw is plus 311 in case you like to bet draws. Stuttgart is all the way down to 14th place in the standings. 4 goals scored, 6 conceded. Gladbach is in the 6th spot. 4 goals scored, 3 goals conceded. Stuttgart is the better team, both battling to move up in the standings. Give me Stuttgart to win. I do like the over here as well. Last game for Saturday in the Bundesliga, Holstein Kiel taking on Harry Kane and Bayern Munich. Harry Kane coming off of his 2 goals for England in the UEFA Nations League. Just the last game that he played in, it was his 100th cap. That means 100th time representing England in a game, and he did show up. Bayern Munich is currently in 2nd place. 5 goals scored, only 2 conceded. Holstein Kiel, bottom of the barrel. 2 goals scored, 5 goals conceded. Bayern Munich is a heavy minus 455. You know, Bayern Munich still getting criticized. Give me Bayern Munich minus 1.5 to cover the spread. Bayern Munich to win 3-0, 3-1. That'll do it for Bundesliga on Saturday. On Saturday, we have some Mexican competition in the Liga MX. Liga MX is back. Toluca at home, taking on Club Tijuana. Toluca's a minus 204 favorite. Tijuana is a plus 473 dog. Liga MX action. We see that Toluca is currently sitting at the 3rd slot, while Tijuana holds the 4th slot. Toluca, 11 goals scored, only 5 conceded. Meanwhile, Club Tijuana, 14 goals scored, 11 conceded. That's in 7 games. This is going to be a tricky one to pick a winner. I do like the over here in Toluca versus Club Tijuana. Give me Toluca to take the victory here at home. Moving on to the next game, Club America versus Chivas. This is El Clásico, the biggest rivalry in Mexican soccer. It's going to be played in Mexico City at Club America's house. Club America is the slight favorite, minus 119. Like I mentioned before, this is the Clásico. This is the Real Madrid versus Barcelona of the Mexican Soccer League. Club America, it's always important to look at the previous matchups between these two teams. A lot of times these two teams face and you expect lots of goals and you don't get any goals. And that's exactly what has happened the last couple of games. The last head-to-head, Club America won 1-0. Prior to that, it was a 0-0 draw. Prior to that, another 0-0 draw. So like I mentioned, guys, these are two blockbuster teams that are known as the biggest rivals, and we haven't seen any goals. But that being said, I think we are going to get some goals here, and Club America is going to get the victory. Club America, let's go. Moving on to the next game for Saturday, Liga MX. Club León at home versus Cruz Azul. Cruz Azul minus 105 favorite. León not having a great season. Cruz Azul's coming on up, playing better. Not going to spend too much time on this one. Give me Cruz Azul to take the victory. Final game for Liga MX on Saturday, Santos Laguna at home versus Monterrey. Santos Laguna hasn't been doing too well last couple seasons. Give me Monterrey with the better squad, minus 156. Continuing on Saturday, let's touch the La Liga in Spain for a little bit. Real Madrid versus Real Sociedad is one of the big games that we're looking at. Real Madrid, the super team, big heavy favorites, are sitting in 2nd place. 7 goals scored, only 2 conceded. Right behind FC Barcelona, who are dominating the competition right now. 13 goals scored, only 3 conceded. Real Madrid, has had some games where they've drawn and they haven't been looking so good, even with the top scoring offense. And they're only sitting at minus 135 right now. This looks too good to be true. Low-hanging fruit or a trap. Give me Real Madrid money line. Hopefully it's not a trap. Minus 135. Not touching anything else in that league for Saturday. All right. Liga 1 France. We don't play too many games here, but we got to keep betting what's not broken, and that's PSG. PSG minus 357 favorite. Barcola, the rest of the gang, like I've mentioned before, they're out to dominate. They're out to prove something. In 3 games, they've scored 13 goals. They've only conceded 2. Meanwhile, Brest is all the way down to 12th slot. 5 goals scored, 7 conceded. We got to go PSG. PSG and the over. Barcola to score again. We got him at plus 200 last time. We can't get off this. If they're going to keep dominating like this, they're at home. We got to keep betting them. PSG at home to dominate Brest. Barcola to get a goal. Over. Let's do it all. Saturday, Premier League, England. It's a lot of games. We're going to go through these pretty quick. Southampton, Manchester United. Give me Manchester United to bounce back at minus 141. Fulham, West Ham. This game is pretty even. It's a toss-up. Give me Fulham at home to get the victory. Crystal Palace at Leicester. Games being played at Crystal Palace. Give me Crystal Palace. Next game, Brighton at home versus Ipswich. Give me Brighton to take the victory. Liverpool at home versus Nottingham Forest. Give me the obvious favorite, Liverpool. Manchester City, Brentford. That's an easy one. Manchester City, it's at minus 556. It's a money line. They should win. Might have to parlay that one. I'll give you a little parlay in the England Premier League after we're done. Aston Villa at Everton versus Everton. Aston Villa at home. Give me Aston Villa. This should be a Premier League where the favorites that are at home are going to dominate this weekend. Final game, Bournemouth at home taking on Chelsea. You know what? I did like what I saw from Chelsea in the first game. They didn't play too well in the next game. They're at plus 100. Give me Chelsea to get a big victory here. So back to that grandma parlay that we're going to do here. It's going to be Manchester City, money line, Liverpool, money line, and Brighton, money line. Brighton, Liverpool, Manchester City, grandma it up, put them all together. We're going to get a good line. Let's go. That'll do it for Saturday's action. And the biggest game on Saturday takes us to the MLS El Tráfico, the Battle of LA. We're going to Carson, Galaxy's home, LAFC versus Galaxy. These games are always filled with fireworks, guys. This competition, this matchup goes back far and far. LA Galaxy, LAFC, these guys hate each other. LA Galaxy is currently in first place in the Western Conference, 52 points, followed by LAFC, who's in second place, 48 points. Big rivalry, guys. LA Galaxy started the season off hot. LAFC, not so much. They bounced back. They're 1-2. Let me just give you a breakdown of the previous scores going down in order. Last game, LAFC won 2-1 versus LA Galaxy. Before that, LAFC won 2-1 versus the Galaxy. LAFC 4-2 over the Galaxy. LA Galaxy 2-1 over LAFC. Galaxy 2-0. LA Galaxy 2-3. LAFC 3-2, 3-2, 3-1, 2-1, 1-1. Did you see a common denominator there? Lots of goals. Usually a both to score, guys. This is the game where I make my biggest bet of the year in, year out. And you will get it if you are in my VIP. You got to get in there, fellas. This is going to be the big game. It's where I drop the most money, and I know what's going to happen in this weekend's game. And like I said, this is a big rivalry. Dates back to many years in LA. LA Galaxy was there before. LAFC came as a new team, and they've gone back and forth. And in the last few games, LAFC have dominated the competition, winning 3 out of the last 4. So LA Galaxy is at home this Saturday. It's going to be a big game. It's always sells out. There's parties before the game. And guys, I'm excited about this one. And it's going to be hard to pick a winner. This might be a draw. It might be 2-2, 1-1. I don't know. But if you want the pick, you got to hit me up and join the VIP. Sunday soccer, we're starting in the Premier League. Only 2 games. Tottenham at home versus Arsenal, guys. We got to go with Arsenal, the runner-up to Manchester City last season. Got to get the victory here versus Tottenham. We are going to see some goals there as well. Sunday, second game of the Premier League in England. Wolves taking on Newcastle. 2 teams that are both doing okay. They don't usually find themselves at the top. Currently, Newcastle is in the 5th slot with 4 goals scored, only 2 conceded. Meanwhile, the Wolverhampton Wolves, 3 goals scored, 9 conceded. That's in 3 games. So you know where we're going here, especially with the Wolves at home. We're going with goals, and we're going with Newcastle to take the victory at the Wolverhampton Wolves house. Bundesliga Sunday, only have 2 games. Augsburg at home versus St. Pauli. Give me Augsburg to take the victory here. Moving on, Mainz at home in the Bundesliga, taking on Werder Bremen. Give me Mainz at home, minus 101 to take the win here. Sunday, La Liga, Spain, Celta Vigo taking on Real Valladolid. Give me Celta Vigo at minus 147. Girona in the next game at home, taking on FC Barcelona. Gotta go with the hot streak. The line is so low that it seems like a gift. Give me Barcelona minus 122. I like goals here as well. Las Palmas versus Athletic Bilbao in the third game for Sunday in La Liga. Give me Athletic Bilbao moneyline. Atletico Madrid, final game in La Liga for Spain for Sunday. Give me Atletico Madrid money line to take down Valencia. So for our two-team over parlay, we're going back to the league that always gives us gifts. We're going to the Bundesliga two-team, two-game over parlay. We're going with Borussia Gladbach versus Stuttgart in the first leg. And we're going with Hoffenheim versus Bayer Leverkusen, guys. That's going to be our two-team over parlay. Hoffenheim at home versus Bayer Leverkusen and the second leg, Borussia Mönchengladbach at home versus Stuttgart. Those are our two for our over 2.5 parlay. Let's take a look at the NFL for this Sunday coming up. The first week saw the public go 4-9 versus the spread. That means that the public only won 4 games versus the spread versus Vegas and the bookies. 4-9 for the public. I figured that Vegas and the bookies would let the public win some in week 1, but they didn't, guys. It was a brutal weekend for the public bettors. Big defeats. No one saw the Cincinnati Bengals going down. I believe in the Survivor pool competition in Vegas, close to 5,000 people were knocked out with that game alone. So it was a crazy weekend. Let's look at week number 2, NFL Sunday, starting off with the New Orleans Saints at the Dallas Cowboys. Now the Saints are coming off a big win where they took down the Carolina Panthers 47-10. Derek Carr looked amazing. On the other hand, the Dallas Cowboys also had a win, big win over the Cleveland Browns, beating them 33-17. Current line, Cowboys minus 6.5. I got to take the Saints plus the points. Give me Saints plus 7. Both teams coming off of big wins. I see a little bit of a letdown game for the Dallas Cowboys in this one. I also think that they're going to both put up some points. Over under set at 46. I think we could see an over here as well. But yeah, give me the New Orleans Saints plus 7. Moving on to the next game. Raiders at Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens coming off that close game with Kansas City Chiefs. Raiders looked awful versus the Chargers. Man, the Raiders are my team. I made the mistake and took the over in that game last week, and it was terrible. I mean, both teams started off the game really bad. I can't take the Raiders plus 9. I'm a Raider fan. Baltimore Ravens coming off a big loss. I just see them destroying the Raiders by more than 9.5 points. So I know that the public's going to be on Ravens huge. It's going to be a big public game. And we may see the Raiders, make it close, but I just can't go against the Ravens on a bounce back game versus the terrible Las Vegas Raiders that just look disgusting in week 1. And that's my team. So I'm taking the Ravens minus 9.5 in this one. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd have to agree. It's real simple. Just fade the Raiders in this one and don't overthink it. Whether you guys do 2 pieces out there, depending on where the line's at. I don't know what are the Ravens currently sitting at right now?
The line is minus 9.5.
Yeah, I mean, don't overthink it. I think that they'll likely blow them out, to be honest. But
especially off of coming off a big loss on Thursday night with the Kansas City.
100%.
Oh, they're coming out for blood, and it doesn't help the Raiders that they played terribly, and they're going up a big team like the Baltimore Ravens, who should dominate them. Moving on to the next game, New York Giants versus Washington Redskins. I still call them the Redskins because that's what they are. Washington Redskins taking on the New York Giants. New York Giants look just as bad or worse than my Las Vegas Raiders. I think the fans were leaving at halftime. It was a terrible performance for the Giants. It just seems that the Giants are getting worse. The Commanders also didn't look too great. They lost 37-20 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So this is a tough one. The line is set at -1.5 to the Redskins, Washington Redskins. 1.5. Man, this is a toss-up game. The over-under is 44. I may just go for that under in that game and go under 44 just because it's two bad teams who had a bad first week. The Washington Redskins did score 20 points. The New York Giants put up 6, and that was it. So I love the under in this one. And just because the Redskins are at home, give me the Washington Redskins to win money line. I'm not even going to take the 1.5 points. Just go money line here. What is your take on this game?
I'm just going to actually touch a touchdown prop. I like Brian Robertson Jr. plus 120 anytime touchdown.
There you go, guys. Nice and simple. Moving on. The Los Angeles Chargers at the Carolina Panthers. Chargers are favored by 6.5 points. Chargers played the terrible Las Vegas Raiders in LA, and they won. Carolina Panthers, what happened to, let's see, what happened to them the first week? Panthers got destroyed by the New Orleans Saints, 47-10. So the line is set, I think, where it has to be set on the Chargers, -6.5, because they got the victory, but they didn't look that great, and they played against the Las Vegas Raiders. So this one's a little tricky. And I know the Chargers, go up and down. They're a bipolar team. On this one, I'm going to take Carolina Panthers plus the points to bounce back a little bit. I'm not saying they're going to win, but they will cover the +7 points. Any info from you on this game?
Yeah, the Panthers, they're really hard to trust, and I see what you're saying about the points, though, because the Chargers, it's just so early. This is one of those games for me. It might just be a stay off. I may look at interceptions on the Carolina Panthers side, but for the most part, I'll probably just stay away because interceptions didn't really help me out last week, did they?
Yeah, you're right. Also, the over-under set at 39, very low over-under. We might just have to take the under here as well. Moving on to the Colts at the Green Bay Packers, over-under 41 points. Colts are favored at a -3.5 spreads. Week 1, the Colts lost a very close game to the Texans. That one went down to the wire, ended up losing 29-27. Good game for the Colts. Green Bay Packers. Well, it's Sunday night. Jordan Love got hurt in that game. That was the big game versus the Philadelphia Eagles. So I think he's out for a bunch of weeks. Looked like his knee popped in that one. We are in Green Bay. Colts are favored by 3.5. I think just for the quarterback being out, going to have to take the Colts at -3, -3.5, taking the Colts. San Francisco 49ers coming off a big win versus the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings are still the Vikings. They did beat the New York Giants, though, and that's not saying much. Minnesota Vikings beat the Giants 28-6 in New York. San Francisco 49ers coming off a big win Monday night. So off that momentum versus the Jets, not a great team. But the San Francisco 49ers with the backup running back running over 150 yards, even though McCaffrey was out. 32-19 over the New York Jets. And it's the Vikings at home, though. I still think that the 49ers are going to cover the spread in this one. 49ers back-to-back covers.
And I'm gonna hit it's chalk, but he's gonna get a touchdown. Deebo Samuel is likely gonna be leaned on if McCaffrey's gonna be out again. He'll get a touchdown in the next game. It's minus 105-ish, minus 108. It is what it is. I'll pay the chalk, maybe parlay it up with some yardage or something, but definitely looking at that.
Yeah. Juwan Jennings also had a big game for the 49ers. He stood out as the top target, 5 receptions for 64 yards. And they don't need to rush McCaffrey back because Jordan Mason, the backup running back, 28 carries for 147 yards and 1 touchdown. So I look at him to get another touchdown. And yes, Deebo is going to be rushing the ball. They're going to be throwing it to him. I think he did get a touchdown in the game week 1. So it looks like he might get another one. So I agree with you there.
And then that's a great point. I think that's where he's potent. It's because he can be the running back, he can be the receiver. He's short passes, long passes. So in the red zone, he's just an option.
All right, moving on to the next game. Cleveland Browns at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over under 41.5. Jaguars favored. -3 is the spread. Cleveland Browns, not a first good outing. They got beat up by the Dallas Cowboys 33-17. Jacksonville Jaguars barely lost to the Miami Dolphins 17-20. They lost by 3 points. That was a good game. Jaguars were in it for most of that game. Cleveland Browns didn't look too good. Give me the Jacksonville Jaguars to cover the 3 points.
And I'm going to be looking at the under. The under right now is set at 41.5. I may just hit that at minus 118. And then on top of that, I may look at kickers. There's just 2 teams that leave a lot on the field, and that worked for me with the Broncos last week. So I'll be taking a look at kickers as well, too.
All right. Sounds good. Moving on, Seattle Seahawks at the New England Patriots for week 2. The spread is Seahawks -3.5. The over-under is at 38. In week 1, we saw the Seahawks beating the Broncos 26-20. Not a very, it was pretty exciting, but not too crazy of a game. The Seahawks were favored to win, I think, by 6.5, and they won by 6. So I don't think they covered. But the New England Patriots, on the other hand, took down the Cincinnati Bengals. Nobody saw that one coming. It's the Cincinnati Bengals. I think their money line was like -400, -500, something like that, -450. Doesn't matter. Bengals were huge favorites. And this is what I was talking about last week. You can't just parlay 2 big favorites in the NFL. Because shit like this happens where a team that's not supposed to lose, it's a heavy favorite, loses at home to a subpar team. New England Patriots are going to be, coming off a big victory. Seattle Seahawks, this is a tough one because it's in New England. Seattle Seahawks beat a bad Broncos team. I'm going to actually take the New England Patriots plus the 4 points. I'll buy half a point. Give me the New England Patriots +4. I could see them maybe losing by a field goal late. What's your take on that game?
It's funny. I'm looking at the lines, and I'm right there with you. I was looking at like the 3.5 and looking into the 4. That's the spot. I think it's going to be really, really close. It comes down to a field goal. And, if you're sitting on the Patriots side, they may even just pull out and win this game outright. So, I like Patriots here as well too. There's something growing in that New England team. There's a little bit of life back with them, so it's good to see.
Next, we're going to the New York Jets visiting the Tennessee Titans. Jets are -3.5 favorites. Over under 40 points. New York Jets was the late game, I believe. Actually, New York Jets was the Monday night game. The return of Aaron Rodgers at the 49ers. The Jets were just the Jets, man. Aaron Rodgers' first drive started pretty good. 3rd and about 5. Throws it to a guy that's about 6-7 yards. Would have been the first down. Hits him in the chest. Falls down. That's when I knew that the Jets were still going to be the Jets. And I had made the right pick with the 49ers the day of the game. The Jets just have too many mistakes. They're dropping passes. They're not giving Aaron Rodgers enough time in the pocket. They didn't look good. And they got their butt beat by the 49ers. Tennessee Titans, on the other hand, had a very close game, back and forth. Were ahead most of the game. Ended up losing to the Chicago Bears in that game. Tennessee Titans at home, and the Jets are favored -3.5. I don't know why the Jets. This is one of those mind-blowing games where I don't understand the bookmakers on this one. Give me the Tennessee Titans plus the 4 points, and I think we're going to be good there. I don't see the Jets bouncing back.
Yeah, man, it was sort of sad to see the Jets on Monday night. They just sort of faded. Aaron Rodgers came out hot, initially, and then you could see it's almost like their team is going to be a metaphor for his age. And I don't want to fade age and everything, but he's just not going to be able to last in games. He's going to get frustrated if they're not even running routes properly, let alone him actually lasting in games. So he's getting frustrated. It just looks like a recipe for disaster in New York right now. And a lot of people were jumping on the spread because McCaffrey was out. But yeah, man, I think you're on the right, sniffing up the right line there with the Titans. But I'm gonna probably stay off of it and probably stay away from Aaron Rodgers games because every once in a while he'll steal the show, and I don't want to be on the line that burns me. But I see what you're saying.
And yeah, I mean, I'm just surprised that the Jets are favored. And same thing happened with the Ravens. The Ravens went up 7-0 on the Kansas City Chiefs, and we saw how that ended. Jets, same thing, went up 7-0 on the 49ers, and everybody got excited. Everybody had the Jets for plus 4.5, plus 5. Some people bought it up, and we saw what happened. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is still a good quarterback. He's just going to get frustrated. I said too many drop passes, a lot of mistakes from the Jets. Their defense fell off at the very end. They couldn't stop them. And I was a little pissed off in that game because I had the under and 49ers teaser, and they gave the freaking Jets a garbage touchdown at the end. I think it was Tyrod Williams, whatever his name, the backup quarterback of the Jets, looked better than Aaron Rodgers at the end. That's one of those games where they like kill the teaser, like Vegas makes the call. It was gross. I had the under 50, and I think that touchdown at the end, pointless touchdown, put the over at 52. It was gross. Tampa Bay Buccaneers going to the Detroit Lions at home. Lions are favored by 7 points, over under 51.5. Lions Sunday night game ended up winning in overtime 26-20 versus the Los Angeles Rams. That was a good one. They definitely wanted to make Sunday night exciting, and they took it to overtime. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, big win, 37-20 over the Washington Redskins. And here we are, Detroit Lions at home, -7, over under 51. I just think that the spread is too big. Give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers +7. And let's go with the little under there. Two high-scoring teams. I think the public's going to get screwed here, and we're going to get an under. Any take on this game?
I'm just going to keep it short and sweet and look at Montgomery for over in his rushing yards and Montgomery for a touchdown.
There you go. Nice and simple. Starting running back for Detroit Lions to get some yards, to get a TD. Moving on to the next game, Los Angeles Rams at the Arizona Cardinals. Rams coming off that big overtime loss, 26-20 to the Detroit Lions. Arizona Cardinals with a big cover, and that's why the line is only at -1.5. And guess what? The Arizona Cardinals are favored in this one, over under 49. Whew, tricky one here. Rams coming off a big loss. Cardinals coming off that big cover over such a big team. You know what? I think that I'm going with the Los Angeles Rams on this one. I'm taking the dog for a lot of reasons. I think they're going to bounce back big. So I'm going to take the Rams to win this game. What do you think?
I have a little bit of touchdowns for you on this one. So I'm going to go on both sides of the ball. Kyron Williams, touchdown, -139. And we're going to hit James Conner, who got so many touches in that first half against Buffalo. I'm going to be looking at a lot of his stats, the overs on his rushes, his touches, and a touchdown at -115.
Okay. And let's continue on the props there, because the Buffalo Bills ended up putting 34 points on the Arizona Cardinals. And let's look at the receivers. Oh, you know what? There wasn't one main guy on the Buffalo Bills. I didn't really watch that game. I'm just looking at the numbers. There wasn't one real dominating receiver for the Buffalo Bills that put up a ton of yards. They did throw for 232 yards and had 130 yards rushing, but the Rams do have Kupp, and Kupp had a fantastic game. The Puka, the other guy, is out for a few weeks, so give me Cooper Kupp to get receptions and yards big versus the Arizona Cardinals. Pittsburgh Steelers, the next game, versus Denver Broncos. The line is -3 for the Steelers, over under 36.5. We got a low over under here. Game is being played in Denver. Denver Broncos coming off the loss to the Seattle Seahawks. Close game, losing 20-26. And the Steelers win over the Atlanta Falcons. Not something to brag about, but they did get an 18-10 win. I'm going to go under. Anytime I hear 36, under 37, we got to go with the under. The pick is a tough one, but I'll take the Pittsburgh Steelers -3, -2.5 if you want to buy half a point for that field goal win. Give me the Steelers -2.5. Give me the under 36.5. Any info for you on this game?
I'm going to go right back to the well on that. Broncos leave a lot on the table. And, I mean, the over-under tells you all that you need to know about what the expectation in the game is. Field goals will be in play. Will Lutz at 8.5, I'll even hit that. He gets 2 to 3 field goals a game on average. So that combined with points, I'm going to touch up the kicker on this one again.
All right. Sounds good. Moving on. Big matchup. Cincinnati Bengals going to Kansas City, taking on the Chiefs. We know what happened. Bengals lost in a game they shouldn't have lost. Kansas City Chiefs won a big game. First NFL game of the season, Thursday night. Chiefs, of course, back-to-back champions, are favored -6, over-under 47.5. I think this is one of those where Vegas is going to get us. I'm not saying the Chiefs are going to lose, but I do see the Bengals covering. Give me the Bengals +7. What do you think about this game?
Honestly, man, unless I really see stuff in Kansas City games, I like to stay the hell away from them. They always end weird. Something, Vegas calls in and something happens. I know that's conspiracy reels online and everything else, but it's just there's been so many sketchy things with lines in their games. I'm just not touching it. I'm not touching it, not at all. Until I see something that, like, maybe touchdown props I might take a look at, but otherwise I'm staying away from it.
All right. Moving on to the Sunday night football game. It's going to be a good one. Houston Texans at home taking on the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears, who looked bad in the beginning of the game, bounced back to get a big win with their new quarterback, Caleb. They won 24-17 versus the Titans. The Houston Texans, what did they do? They beat the Colts 29-27 in a very close game. Texans are favored by 7 points. I think that's too much. 7 points. But this is one of those where I think the public's going to be on the Bears plus the points. The public favorite is going to be the dog team with the points. Houston Texans at home, over under 45.5. I'm filming this podcast on a Tuesday, so this may change, but DM me if you want the answer when it gets closer to game time. Today, I'm going to give you guys Bears +7. Take that one to the house. It's early in the week, guys, so just keep that in mind. This is going to show on Friday, and we're recording this on a Tuesday, so DM me. Sunday night primetime games are where I do my best work with the teasers. I think I've only lost 2 out of the last 15 NFL teasers going into this weekend. So NFL primetime teasers are my money makers, and so are player props. We did hit big the other day in the 49ers game. I gave out Debo rushing yards to my VIP members early in the day. We got the 10.5 rushing yard line for Debo Samuel, and that bounced up, of course, to like over 20-something yards when they officially announced that McCaffrey was going to be out. As a free play, I sent Brock Purdy rushing yards over 8.5. Sent that in my free Telegram to everybody. Brock Purdy had 1 run for 11 yards. I was a little nervous on that one because, you know, when they do take a knee, that takes a yard if they do it a couple times. But luckily they had the backup in there to take the knee in that game. So yeah, keep in mind primetime NFL game.
I do have an actual play for you. Sorry to cut you off there for the Texans game. So the one thing I was actually wanted to look into was how Stephon Diggs and Stroud connected last week. I didn't really watch that. Obviously, me being a Buffalo Bills fan, Diggs just wasn't getting the touches that he needed at the end of the season. There was a little bit of contention. Not necessarily because they didn't want to give him the ball. He was just being tripled and quadruple teamed, and just there was no setup for him to get him open. So I'm interested to see maybe a touchdown prop for Diggs, because if he can get open, I want to take a look at that game. If he had some yardage and looked decent, then Diggs might be something I want to touch. Also, Mixon's always live for a touchdown running back for the Texans.
All right, sounds good. That'll do it for NFL Sunday Week 2. Thanks again, guys, for joining us on the Pitch with TJ Picks. I'm your host, TJ Raff, signing out, wishing you a great weekend and a lot of money making with these soccer bets and some NFL picks as well. Take care. Have a good one.